Well, this is my first attempt at a video blog or whatever they call it. But the intent here is, we have guides and team members for our business, Paintrock Adventures and Paintrock Elk Camp, that come from all over the country. And I just want them to know that Nancy and I cannot do what we do without all their help. And anyway, we get a bunch of feedback after the season, during the season, and all that kind of stuff. And we are so busy during the fall especially that a lot of times we don't get a chance to share that with our fellow team members. And again, we can't do it without them. I'm going to mention some people's names. This is 2011, and we just had one of the best teams that I could ever have thought of putting together. It was the dream team season, without a doubt. We had more things going on with camps in the Bighorns and the East Fork camp over in DuBois going at the same time. One thing I would like to mention is that a lot of accolades don't go towards my wife and fellow partner Nancy very often, but without her help and support and getting things where they ought to be, and putting together the groceries, among other things, things that most people just take for granted out of our camps anymore. We couldn't do what we do. So a big shout out and a big thank you for Nancy, my wife. Not only is she a wonderful person, but she enables us to all do the things that she makes us look good. How's that go? Okay. Anyway, so without getting this thing too long, I have got a few things to read as far as from our clients. Here's one from Todd Sturgeon. He was a bow hunter that we had this last year over in the East Fork. Chris Cormell was his guide along with his partner that he guided during bow season in September 2011. Anyway, here's what he had to say. I just wanted to drop you a line to say that I mailed the hunt survey form today. The survey did not give me a chance to express my true thoughts on your operation. Paintrock is the most well-organized and managed outfit that I've ever experienced. I was very impressed with your attention to detail and overall the nice group of employees. Usually when the boss leaves, and I was gone during that week for the most part other than the first day or two, things take on a different atmosphere, but everything remained the same. I also appreciated your staff taking us out riding after we successfully filled our tag. So that's just an example of my staff, our team members going the extra mile with our customers and guests. And he goes on to just say that he enclosed a couple of pictures. But, the main team members there, Lori the cook, Chris the guide, and Bruce and several of the other guys. Joe, of course, was camp manager that week. Big shout out to you guys because you made things happen. Now, I've got some surveys here that I wanted to share with you. We keep them in a notebook here, but I'm just going to share a few of them, and then maybe we can kind of make this into a weekly thing. Dale Meeks writes, he had Joe for his guide, and of course Lori Heck as his cook. Could not have asked for a better guide or person. It was sad to part as friends. Wow. Joe, that is quite a compliment there. So, first class operation. Kind, considerate, fun to hunt with. Very hard-working crew. You can't get any better than that. Thanks to all of you that were there that week for Dale and his daughter Brooks, who hunted as a team. Brooks mentioned that this was the best experience of her life. Very nice. We appreciate those comments from Brooke. Let's see, Tom Freiberger. This is, we had, of course, John Crawford was the guide. Ed Steidoff was camp manager, and Henry Torgerson was the cook that week. And Tom goes on to write that John did everything he could have done. Okay, very nice comment there. Also says that this was the 4th elk hunt for me. Paintrock had the best accommodations and hunting conditions that I've seen anywhere. Lots of elk, lots of action. Surprisingly, with that said, I did not come home with an elk. I was looking for a 300 plus bull. I had opportunities, just couldn't close the deal. John and the crew were fantastic. Tom Freiberger. Okay, so I mean, unbelievable. Here's one, a shout out for Tom Kalk. John Crump was his guide, and the cook was Jim Hallman. He says John would get an 11 on the helpfulness as a guide. And he also writes that he would love for Herman Brune to have been there as well. Would have been quite a celebration. Tom harvested a really nice 6-point over here on the Paintrock side of things. Herman's been his guide for several occasions over on the East Fork. So anyway, those are his kind words about our operation and team. Okay. Ron Bishop writes, he had Bruce Copperroot as the guide, Lori Heck as the cook, and Wrangler, which I haven't mentioned yet, Taylor, who did a phenomenal job this last year. Ron says, without a doubt, the best hunt he has ever been on. Great job. Here's one from Bob Clark. And I was his guide, fortunately, and cook of Jim Hallman. He writes, Jim went above and beyond at all times. Way to go, Jim. Not one thing. He was awesome. Best of my 4 hunts by far. That's for Jim Hall. So a great job. Thank you, Bobby, for those kind words. Here we go. This is from Seth Lund. He writes that he had a great setup and crew. Thanks for a great hunt. All right, here's from Ken Cooper, and I got to be the guide. Cook's name was Lori Heck. Wrangler was Taylor Ingram. The crew went above and beyond to give us an extraordinary hunt. Roughing it at Spike Camp was worthy of any discomfort for the greatness. I'm ready to do it again. That's the kind of things that we like to hear. And thank you for the crew, especially for that. And here's one for Lori. This is from Ken again. It says, Lori did an amazing job in the kitchen. She worked very hard with long hours, as we know she does. Thank you, Lori. She was enjoying her adventure in Wyoming as the rest of us. Food was incredible, and I enjoyed getting to know her. That's one of the things that we get lots of comments about people that, you know, it's more like hunting and being around friends than it is, with our crew. The hunt exceeded my expectations. This was my first guided hunt, and I assumed it may be once in a lifetime. But I'm ready to do it again. Entire staff made me feel welcome and comfortable. Thanks, Taylor and Lori and the rest of the crew there. Here's one for you, Lori, and this is from Kevin Henning, and he's out of Bourne, Texas. He says about Lori, it would be great if Lori would come back next year. So, nice things to hear. Thanks again for a wonderful hunt from Kevin. All right, Tom Halstonson, and he had our camp manager over on the East Fork, Joe Gray. He writes and says that Joe made this hunting trip. His hunting partner is Harris, so he refers Harris and I want him again in 2012. We will be in touch. Okay, thank you, Tom, for those kind words. Great experience, really loved it. Here's one from Bill Radicke out of Michigan. And this one, he had Ed Steidoff, who was the camp manager in the Paintrock side. Susan was the cook. And, of course, John Crawford was there, too. And Bill writes, he says, Ed needs a raise. It was the greatest hunt of my life. Little does he know that Ed would do a fantastic job, whether he got a raise or not. Not that you don't deserve it, Ed. Okay. Harris Widmer, that's Tom Halstenson's partner, writes, this is in a question, would you want this guide to be your guide in the next hunt? And he had Joe Gray, of course, for a guide. Would be a requirement if Joe was still working for you. So, Joe, and thank you so much. Great camp and a great time. Here's one for the whole team. The usual, very efficient, totally professional operation throughout the hunt. Excellent outfit. That's accolades to the whole team, and I sure appreciate that. I hope you kind of enjoyed this. I'm going to post this up on YouTube, and hopefully a few people get a chance to see it. And anyway, we'll close there, and hopefully we'll get a chance to do this again. All right?